Making My Way by Dragoness Bahamut. Ashra. Huh? Who's there? Where are you, Ashra? Who are you? You truly believe that you are a human? I am. Poor Ashra. What are you talking about? Who are you? Poor Ashra. Stop calling me that! Ashra, please do not shout. I can yell if I want to. Who are you? I will speak to you again. Goodbye, Ashra. Wait a second! You didn't even tell me who you are! It took a while to recover enough to satisfy Mom. She wouldn't let me leave the bed until she was completely sure that I was okay. I guess that's what mothers are for, huh? I didn't tell anyone about this strange dream. I felt it best if they didn't know. I worked on transforming into myself. I had a feeling that I wouldn't be able to challenge the Elite Four if they knew that I was a Pokemon. I could never completely get rid of the pain, and it was very exhausting. But that was another thing I hid. I wanted them to keep their faith in me. They wouldn't trust me to battle the Elite Four if I could barely keep myself as me. I trained my Pokemon, too. I knew I would only be able to bring 6 with me, but I trained all of them. Even Charizard let me train him. The others had told me what had happened to Charizard in the explosion. The combination of the acid on its face and the fire it had created had burned away a lot of its skin. They said the same thing had happened to me, only I'd been covered entirely in sludge, not just my face. I think we'd both look a lot better after we'd been given some time to recover. Because I didn't want too many people knowing about my true form, whenever I left the house, I'd made myself transform. I did all of the training outside, so I could get more used to transforming for a long time. As time passed, I began to pray that the battles against the Elite Four would last less than 20 minutes. Asha! Asha? I only knew one person in the world who called me Asha. I looked up. A young brown-haired girl was leaning on the fence, grinning at me. Mayo! I said in greeting. Mayo laughed and climbed over. Well, Asha, it looks like you've got yourself a lot of Pokemon, she said. That's for sure. She looked around at all of them. And you became a Pokemon master. Uh-huh. So, did you have fun? Sure did. That's good. Something wrong, Mayo? Asha, do you have any idea how boring it was without you and Gary around? Well, there wasn't anyone around to bother, and you weren't there to keep me company. Mayo, when you did come back, you didn't even come over to say hi. What kind of friend's that? Mayo, Asha, why didn't you tell me you were here? I had to find out from Grandpa of all people. Well, anyway, I'm glad you're back. Yeah, me too. That was when I started to worry about something completely different. I'm gonna have to change back soon. What's Mayo gonna say when she finds out? Does she have to find out? Mayo, I'm kinda in the middle of something right now. Do you think maybe you could come by later? What? You're too busy for me? Well, not... It's just I'm about done training for the day, and after I'm done, I usually like to take a rest before I do anything else. There, not too far from the truth. Oh, I see. I get it. You don't need to hide it from me, Asha. I understand. Huh? Hide what? I asked honestly. There's no way she could know about it, right? Quit it, Asha. I know what's going on. You do? Oh, yeah. You left Pallet off to become a Pokemon master. You left all by yourself. You come back after a year, and guess what? You are a Pokemon master. A big shot. I'm just not worth your time anymore. I guess I'll go home now. She hung her head and started shuffling back to the fence. Wait a sec, Mayo! I cried. She stopped and looked at me expectantly. You have it all wrong. What is it, Asha? Do you think you could come back later? I have to think about exactly how I want to tell you this. I don't want to shock you. She raised an eyebrow. Why don't you tell me now so I don't have to try to figure it out in the meantime? That's probably a good idea. Wait a second. I can't tell her. But she's my friend. I can trust her. I know I can. Mayo, come with me, I said quietly. She nodded and followed me back into the house. Before I let us in, I had to make sure that no one was around. I didn't want anyone else to know what I was about to do until they had to. What are you doing? Said Pikachu. Pikachu, everyone, you stay here and keep on training, okay? I'll be right back. Okay, said Pikachu. I guess. It might not have been a good idea to leave them all out there by themselves. But Team Rocket had other troubles at the moment, and I was certain that my Pokemon could take care of themselves. We ended up in the study, the least used room in the entire house. It was full of books, most of them about gardening and Pokemon. Dad had, before he left, he'd had a lot of Pokemon stuff here so that I would be well educated before I began Pokemon training. A lot of good that did me. No, the real reason it didn't do me any good was because I was too lazy to read through them all. There was a lot of potted plants in the study. Mom liked to keep the place very lively by putting a lot of things there. I never fully understood her logic, but then again, I never really needed to. Of course, I couldn't get away with living in that house without helping her take care of the plants. She said she'd always liked plants, the same way that I'd always liked Pokemon. I guess we kind of rubbed off on each other, because now she had Mimey, and Bulbasaur is one of my strongest Pokemon. I'd never imagined I would actually become a Pokemon. Sure, I had wondered what it might be like, but I wanted to stay human so I could train them. Now I couldn't help but wonder if my dream was over already. Asha, you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. I tried to ignore the nostalgia of that room. Before I'd actually met him, my dad had been my hero. You sure you're okay? Yeah, I'm sure. I took a deep breath. Okay, Mayo, I have to tell, yeah, I know. That's what you said. No, I mean, I can't just tell you. I have to show you, otherwise you won't believe me. Asha, why wouldn't I believe you? She asked indignantly. Quiet, I hissed. Now, look, this is different, okay? Have you ever heard of a Mew? A Mew? Yeah, have you? I don't think so. Wait, yeah, I have. I read about it in one of Grandpa's books. It was a fairy tale, I think. Something like The Legend of Mew or something like that. It was an interesting story. Too bad it's not real. The Legend of Mew? What was it about? I asked. Oh, it said something about... It's hard to remember. It's been a while, but I think it said something about humans and Mews used to be the same or something like that. It was kind of weird. She continued on about some other Pokemon, but only one part stuck in my mind. Humans and Mews? The same? I realized that Mayo had unwillingly hit on something big. Mayo, I said in a hushed tone, that was no fairy tale. Huh? I'll prove it to you. What? Asha! I transformed right in front of her. I couldn't put it off any longer anyway. I would start to get dizzy. When I was done, I looked up to see her staring wide-eyed at me. She knelt down, keeping the same expression on her face. Asha, she said in wonder. Is that really you? Yeah, this is me, Mayo. How? It's a really long story. Maybe I'll tell it to you sometime. But right now, you have to promise not to tell anybody. Not your friends, not your family, no one. Got it? Sure, Asha. She grinned. They'd probably think I was just crazy anyway. I laughed. Probably. Who knows? Maybe we are crazy. Well, you may be, but until just a moment ago, I was perfectly sane. That's what you think. We both started laughing. After a whole year apart, we were still friends. That was a nice feeling.